Hello everyone, welcome to Southern Wreaths. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to show you how I create a box and get it ready for shipping. You can usually ship with this box under $10 to most places. It will not work if you're shipping out of the US, and some places like California cost way more. These are the supplies I'm going to use, and I also use tape. So I'm showing you that this wreath measures 24 inches across. I have an 18 by 18 by I think a 16-inch box. I'm going to fold down the flap and I'm going to measure how big my flap is. So this would work with, any box. So my flap is 9 inches. So I know that that's how big I need to make the flaps for my finished box. I'm using a red marker. You don't have to use that. I'm just using that to show you. I normally use a pen or a pencil. And I am going to mark at 5 inches. And I'm going to do this all the way across the box. And I'm just lining up the start of my ruler at the crease and then going up to 5 and marking it. If you want yours to be exactly 5, you might want to go one little line into the 5. And then I just go across and make the lines. And this just makes it easier when I cut. So that measures 5 inches. So that's where my wreath will live in the box. Okay, so now I'm going to measure my flap. So I go up to 9 inches from the line I created. And again, I'm marking all the way across. And a metal ruler really comes in handy because it's sharp and steady, and it works great with a box cutter. Okay, so there are the two lines I need on this side. I have one at 5 inches and then another 9 inches down. So you want to turn it over and do the 5-inch mark. Not the 9-inch. You don't have to do that on this side because you're going to score these. And make sure you do it on the same side that you have on the other side, if that makes sense. So if you have the line on the left, then you keep it on the left. All right, after I make my lines across, I'm just going to go through and connect them all. Super simple. All right, now I'll turn it back over. And I'm going to cut at the 9-inch spot. I'm just using a box cutter. Be super careful with box cutters. When I first started doing this to my boxes, I used a knife. That works just fine too if you don't have a box cutter. You don't want to press down too hard. One, I didn't want to cut my deck, but two, you just do multiple runs through. So I'm just using my ruler, lining it up and pulling it straight through. And then you can kind of keep going. I mean, it doesn't really go off too bad, but I just go through, and I am pushing a little bit, but not hard enough to go all the way through because I don't want to hurt my hand. I can just make several passes. So here's my second pass, and for the most part that cuts all the way through. I just have one little spot that I needed to cut. All right, and then you can just discard this piece. You don't need it, and it's too small to do anything with. All right, now to score it, you do not press down hard at all. You just kind of run the knife along the cardboard box. You just gently run it across, and it creates a score. And you want to do that on both sides where you made the lines at the 5-inch. Now I'm going to cut my flaps. So I always like to cut or poke a hole at the connected point, and then when I pull down, I don't cut all the way through it. That just creates a stopping point, and I'll do that for all 4 sides, and then it easily folds down. And then you just decide which way you want to fold it. And now I'm going to tape the bottom. I probably use way too much tape, but I just like how secure it makes me feel, that I know nothing's going to pop open. If you have good tape, but it probably won't be necessary to use as much as I'm going to use. So I'm going to show you the wreath I'm actually shipping, how easy it fits in there. And again, that's a 24-inch wreath. But this is a larger wreath, and I wanted to measure it and show you how it fits in the box as well. So I measured from the longest ruffle sticking out to the other side, the longest ruffle sticking out. So that was 26 inches by 9 inches. All right, and now I'm just going to put it in the wreath, or in the box, And don't worry about the bow, because even if you ship it in a larger box, they still have to fluff the bow. But look, it closes perfectly and it fits and it works great. And then they'll just take it out and fluff their bow. You can put instructions in there on how to fluff the bow if you want to. Okay, I normally put a sheet of paper in here from my Etsy, you know, when I sell on Etsy. But she bought 2 wreaths, so I'm just going to put the paper in the other box. And I do ship separate, because if you go over 5 inches thick, the price goes up so far that it's usually cheaper to just do 2 separate boxes. Okay, so I do the 2 flaps, and I make sure my flaps are going the same way. That's not necessary. I just think it looks better. And then I'm just going to do the corners. And if you don't like all this writing on here, you can find the section that's connected on the inside of your box, separate that, and then turn it inside out and glue it back together. And then you have a nice, pretty, clean, smooth, no decorations or anything on it box. For this side, I don't do the 2 finished sides. The other one had score lines on each side, so I felt like I needed to do all of those. So after I do all of the exposed corners, I do 1 big circle around the whole box. And again, I don't know if this is necessary. It makes me feel good. All right, and then I'm gonna do 2 wrap the other way. And I usually leave enough room in the middle to add my label. And I do make sure they connect. And that is it. That's how I make my box for shipping. Now this one measures just a teeny bit over 5, but I mark it as 5. It's not enough to make that big of a difference. But thank you so much for watching. If y'all have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, or you can email me at craftingwithlee@yahoo.com. If you learned anything today or liked my video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. If anyone's interested in following me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at Southern Wreaths More, on Facebook at Southern Wreaths, and I also have a Facebook group called Southern Wreaths and More.